Welcome to the Chico Creates podcast, where we interview local artists, musicians, and makers from here in Chico, California. I'm your host, Kira Brosodi, and with me today are Henry and Ashiah Bird. Henry Crook Bird is a Marysvillian country folk musician and songwriter who has been performing and releasing records in Chico for 10 years. And Ashiah Bird is a 31-year-old actor with over a decade of experience in theater and vocal performance, and is the marketing and communications director for True North Housing Alliance, a nonprofit that provides shelter and housing to people in need in Butte County. It brings them joy to be a creative storyteller on the page and on the stage. Welcome, you two.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Of course. I'm so excited to get like a Chico Creative Power Couple.
I love that.
I mean, a lot of our guests have talked about, like, not all of them are coupled with a fellow creative, but the ones who are talk about how awesome that is. So I'm really excited to like have you both on here to, answer the usual questions and talk about that aspect as well. So,
wonderful.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourselves beyond the bio.
Well, a little bit about myself. That's always such a hard question for me.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so we're focusing on like our creative aspect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I started singing when I was really young. Obviously, I don't even remember. I was probably a little toddler running around humming things, right? But my parents noticed that I really loved singing, and they were like, "Would you like to take singing lessons?" And I was 9 years old, and I was like, "Yeah, that sounds really cool." So I remember one of my first performances, I felt so sick, like I was going to throw up, because I was singing at the Little League opening ceremonies at Jackson Elementary School in Red Bluff, just, 45 minutes up the road.
Wow.
And I was so excited and so nervous because I was singing the national anthem. And I still get nervous like that every time I perform, but it was really sweet. I remember people just being so excited to see this little kid out there. And yeah, I think that's like a perfect way to like encapsulate my love of creating in theater. Like, it makes me super nervous, but then I do it and it's the most exhilarating thing. And I keep coming back. So ever since then, I've been performing, either singing or doing theater. So, and I'm 31 now. So it's kind of crazy to think about how long that's been.
A lifelong thing. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just some dude from Marysville, really. When I was in Little League, I didn't last very long, because what would happen is I'd go up to bat, and I'd hit the ball, and I'd run to first base, and I'd start talking to the first baseman, and then the other kid behind me would hit the ball, and they'd run up to first base, and they'd be like, "Henry, run to second, go, go," and I would turn around and go, "Shh, I'm in the middle of a conversation." So I didn't have any of the competitive energy that you needed in order to make that work. So anyway, yeah, so that's, and I don't know, I spent a lot of my 20s wandering. I graduated into the middle of the Great Recession, so I just sort of did whatever I had to do to get by, and and then finally, and I don't regret any of it. It was all absolutely wonderful, and all those experiences have sort of made me into the person that I am today. But it's been really wonderful for the past several years to finally stay in one spot long enough to, get married and go to school and work on some of these projects that require more sustained collaboration and effort. So
Stability.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how long have you both lived in Chico?
Well, I was born in Oregon, Southern Oregon, and my family moved to Northern California. We lived in Gerber first, so not far from here, when I was like in kindergarten. And then we moved to Red Bluff when I was in, I think it was like 4th grade. So I grew up in Red Bluff, right up the street.
Yep.
And then, so I'd take little trips to Chico here and there. And when I graduated from high school, it was so funny. I looked all over. I went and toured all these schools, and I had these ideas of I could go all these places. And I toured Chico State last, and I was like, this is the best one. This is the best one. And I think I would have been super afraid to move super far away anyway. So because I liked being close to my friends and family. And so I ended up at Chico State in the fall of 2011, and
Ever since.
basically, I mean, briefly had an internship at the Sacramento Bee because I got my degree in journalism in the news segment of that major from Chico State. And then I actually lived in Paradise for a little bit, and then moved back to Chico. And yeah, I love it here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mostly grew up in Paradise starting in 98 and graduated from Paradise High. And I've sporadically lived in Chico, but mostly just been a Butte County dude, really, in the broader sense. But I've been living now in Chico since 2021. And so this is my longest stretch actually being in Chico proper now. And it's been lovely.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how did you two meet? It's an important part of the story.
Right. So my former partner and Henry went to school together.
Yeah.
So we met through him. And Henry was just one of those people who I became friends with as well. And, later on in our lives when we were both single, it was really funny. I was living in this old Victorian house in downtown Chico that my friends and I call Spooky House because it is falling apart. Like every time I drive by it, I'm like, wow, it's still standing. And I was sharing the Wi-Fi with a friend who was like, so the top row of this house is kind of like a hotel where there's different rooms, and you each lived in this tiny room, and that was your apartment. And so I didn't have any internet connection, so I was hooked up to my friends down the hall. And so Henry and I had been playing Animal Crossing. It was during the pandemic. And I noticed one of those days that he's never on Facebook, but he would occasionally be on there posting things about shows or, at that time, live streams and things. And he posted about Animal Crossing. And I was like, oh, that would be really fun. We should play together. So I was trying to get the internet connection to work, and I'm sitting on the ground in the threshold of the door in the hallway trying to get my internet to work. And he keeps coming over to, because in Animal Crossing, for people who aren't familiar with it, you play this character who moves into an island with a bunch of animal friends, and other people can come visit your island. And, you can imagine during the pandemic.
Oh yeah, it's the best, and it kept me sane.
Seriously, that's the best way to describe it. So cute, so wholesome.
Yes.
And so we're trying to get to work, and he keeps coming to the island, and then the internet connection fails, and he keeps getting booted off. So Henry,
I just said, hey, do you want to just talk?
They just talk on the phone. It's like,
which I guess turned out to be a loaded statement in retrospect. There's a lot going on there. There were a lot that developed into. So.
Yeah, so we ended up talking on the phone after like midnight, and like that night was the first night I remember thinking like, whoa, actually I think I have feelings more than like friendship, because we had known each other I think for at least 6 years.
Yeah.
And Henry, would be traveling around bebopping to whatever job or place he was at, and he would randomly message me like, hey, I read your article, and just really kind words about how impactful the stories I was writing were for the community. And we would catch up and sometimes have like philosophical questions, and then it'd be months until we talked again. And so he was just kind of always there. It was, yeah. So we had a kind of unconventional pandemic romance where we dated virtually for many months because we both waited until we both had the vaccine and had access to it to safely be able to have our first date. So Henry and I told each other that we loved each other virtually first before we even had our first date. So you can imagine that first date was very a lot of emotions.
I feel like that's also a loaded statement, but we can.
Just a little.
But yeah, and I'm the kind of person that like, I love people very quickly and sometimes to my detriment. With this, it was really great because I knew that I wasn't inventing anything. Like Henry was I was in love with who he was because I had known him for so long, and highly recommend marrying your friend. I really highly recommend that.
Yeah. Those are the ones that stick.
Yeah.
Love that.
I mean, yeah, I need to tell the whole story. I just got so carried
we can
away.
tell more if you want. There's certain platforms that it might not work for, I guess, but we can keep going. Whatever.
Do a radio edit version.
It's the iHeartRadio explicit version.
Right.
So what is keeping you guys here in Chico?
A lot of things. I mean, on a practical level, I want to at least finish school. I returned. There was like a 13-year gap between my time as a senior in the College Connection program at Butte to when I finally returned after all those years of wandering. And so I'm now in the math ed program at Chico State. I've got
cool.
a couple years left before I'm fully credentialed and ready to start teaching. But even then, I mean, Asia and I have talked about this. Chico is really a special place. It's this, just enclave of arts and cultural activity that doesn't really have. There's nothing like it really here in the North State.
Yeah.
And so, I have no particular need to leave anytime soon. Really is where we're at right now.
And we're not really city folk.
Right.
Yeah.
So, even when I was working for the Sacramento Bee and I was living in Davis and commuting into Sacramento, I could feel my, blood pressure, whatever it is, the anxiety. Just, I never really wanted, while there's a lot of amazing things happening in cities and, I really love places like Portland. It's so hard to picture myself being there because of the kind of different environment and stress level that a city brings.
Yeah.
And then also just for me, I've really connected with and met so many people in the theater community here.
Yeah.
And my family are all still close by, and some of my longest friends are still close by. And so it's hard to imagine being anywhere else. And then you add to that, the creative arts environment that we have here that is really just so special. It's hard to imagine being anywhere else.
Yeah, for sure. Do you guys have a favorite local spot to hang out in town?
5 Mile, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my go-to spot.
Yeah, so Bidwell. I was gonna say anywhere with good burritos.
Right. Yeah.
And there's lots of those here.
Yes.
We actually had a Tacos El Pinolero was the truck at our wedding. That was our food.
The park, yeah.
We also like Tacos Mary, I really like to go thrifting. Henry does too. We found we'll go hunting for cast iron. It's hard to find some.
Yeah. Oh, I got a cast iron kettle the other day at Goodwill for $8.
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could talk thrifting all episodes.
Ocean brewing time.
Oh yes.
Seriously, yeah. So I really like the Arc. We like the Arc a lot. I love going to 8th and Main. Yeah, I love the bookstore in downtown Chico. Those Chico, quintessential Chico places.
Yes. Yeah.
And of course, Bidwell Park. I mean, it's so special that we have Bidwell Park. I'm really grateful for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the best thing about Chico is it has a little bit of everything, it's got there's enough going on culture-wise that you're not in the city. You're really close to the outdoors. There's good food. Better food is coming in all the time.
Oh, and I have to mention Equilateral Coffee because I am obsessed with everything about Equilateral Coffee.
Yes.
Amazing place, amazing people, amazing coffee. So that's you and 1078. I'm it's the best thing ever to just go in and get my favorite coffee in Chico and then get to see all the really cool art that people are making. One of my favorite things to do. So
Yeah, Equilaterals are our local coffee shop. We love it. It's like 2
It's the
blocks
best.
from us. Yeah. We're lucky.
Oh, very lucky.
So, how did you guys get started in each of your creative pursuits?
I mean, I do not come from a musical family. Nobody played music growing up. My dad was an avid record collector,
Mhm.
though, and had amassed a sizable digital collection of music when I was a kid. And he he had a Fort Bragg's version of KZFR. He had a little hour-long radio show late Monday nights called Music for the Easily Bored. And so he had just like the weird, like experimental bands like Man Man. He had the virtuoso loser rock of Lean. He had, he really liked Fat Possum Records that recorded all those Delta blues musicians.
Mhm.
And then also just like the carnal slide guitar party dude stuff that Bob Log was doing afterward, Bob Log III. And so I eventually found Mississippi John Hurt's fingerpicking records
Yes.
in there somewhere. And I have no idea how I had to self-teach myself how to play guitar like that. Nobody in my community played like that. And
Mhm.
I have no sane way to describe how it happened. I just sort of holed myself up in my bedroom for months on end and worked at it bit by bit. And then critically, my mom introduced me to folks like John Prine, Townes Van Sant, and Guy Clark, and those sorts of folks. And that's what got me writing music.
Cool.
And then shortly after that, my brother, Javier Bird Rodriguez, and I got together and started making records. And here we are.
Awesome. Love that.
Yeah, I, at least the singing part started, when I was 9 with the lessons, but the theater aspect started, I was in high school and I had a chance to take drama classes. And I remember they were doing the school play, The Matchmaker, and they wanted, naturally, it being a high school, the scene changes took a really long time. And they wanted a singer to come in and sing some songs from Hello Dolly. In between the scenes. And so I remember that was my first time doing a play,
Mhm.
and I had a fun time singing, but it was the backstage kind of banter and bonding with the castmates that really drew me into doing theater. My high school at the time, Red Bluff High, didn't have musicals. It was like I was doing choir shows and drama scene nights.
Right.
And so I didn't do my first musical until 2014, and I got to play Princess Fiona in Shrek the Musical at Chico Theater Company, and I absolutely loved it, and basically just dove into the community theater scene after that, and that's I just haven't been able to stay away.
Been an obsession ever since.
Yeah. I've worked with almost every theater company in Butte County. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like I feel honored. I feel honored that I've been invited to
Yeah.
perform with these theater companies, and that they've, that I've been cast in some really amazing roles. And the music wise, I had always wanted to learn an instrument, but I was so busy doing theater that I never took the time to do it. And when the pandemic happened, I was, was like, okay, I guess it's time. Like, I'm stuck inside. I can't do theater. I'm kind of losing it. So I learned how to play ukulele, and I wrote songs. And so Henry and I have performed together, and
Cool.
we played together at our wedding, which was really special. And that started recently. So.
Very cool. Do you have a favorite role that you've played? Does something come to mind immediately when I say that?
Oh, yeah. So some of my favorite parts, and it was really cool thinking about this, are strong female characters. So I played Marie Antoinette in The Revolutionists with Legacy Stage, and I played Emma Borden, Lizzie Borden's older sister, in Lizzie the Musical, also with Legacy Stage. And I played Alice Murphy in Bright Star at Theater on the Ridge. And what I really love about these characters is that all of them were really like told by everyone that they couldn't be who they were meant to be, that they couldn't have the things that they wanted in their life, and that there was something wrong with them. And in Marie Antoinette's case, like literally like libelous, slanderous things written about her constantly. And she's a complicated figure that is misunderstood. And so it was really, those roles have really stood out to me because they taught me a lot about myself and about, just the inner strength that I have in myself, and just the sisterhood of being with the other women and people in the casts that I had in Lizzie the musical and The Revolutionists, because we were all women casts, was really like special to me. And so those roles really stand out to me because they taught me about myself and really challenged my acting skills. And I just got to work with really wonderful people who were so supportive and do some dream roles. So I get to sing really amazing stuff in the case of Bright Star and Lizzie, because Revolutionists, we did sing, but they were more demanding musical wise, and it just felt really cool and empowered, and it was really wonderful to share those stories. I think about Bright Star in particular because this woman came up to me after the show, and Bright Star is this, just spoiler alert. I won't talk about it too long, but Alice, her baby is taken away from her when she is a child, like a teen, and she wants to find her child again as an adult, because she's, again, was told, you can't have your baby, you can't be with the man that you love, and as an older woman, she decides that she's going to finally pursue what she's wanted. And this woman, it was a very beautiful story, going through her journey with that. And this woman came up to me after the show, and she had tears in her eyes, and she said to me, "You told my story tonight." And she gave me a big hug. And I never met her before. And to me, like, I get emotional thinking about that, because that is the power of theater and of storytelling.
Yeah.
Is being able to connect with other human beings like that and make them feel like they're not alone. And that to me is just one of the main things that keeps me coming back to theater.
Yeah. Yeah, that piece has been a huge motivator for me to keep making art. Like, it's, no matter how much money I'm bringing in, the point is to help people feel connected and seen and not alone. That's the biggest piece of it for me. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Henry, do you have a favorite song that you've written, or?
Well, yeah, I can go ahead and play the song that
Awesome.
Asia walked down the aisle to. And
Ooh.
it's part of my upcoming secular gospel record that we're putting together.
Love that.
Yeah, it is sort of a love song for optimistic nihilists.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No,
So.
I am like right there. Secular gospel.
Uh-huh.
Like, I need to know more.
Fair enough. Slide off of my finger there. My accomplishments and dreams are all a trifle. Across the endless vast expanse of space and time, and yet so small are too my worries, fears, and failures. Weightless burdens lifted off my weary mind. My chapter on this earth is but a moment. When I share mine with yours, it makes it two. We can bring this fleeting image into focus on every moment here in love with you. And if all our love is mere elaborate instinct, chemicals and charges through the brain, May I follow all these signals where they lead me. Call it love and I'll enjoy it all the same. My chapter on this earth is but a moment. When I share mine with yours, it makes it two. We can bring this fleeting image into focus on every moment here in love with you. Raise the curtain, take a bow, dance around the here and now. We are what we can feel, my darling, nothing will be say or do. I'm bare and brittle, soft and small, I'm lucky to be here at all. So what an earthly miracle to stand exposed to you. May we all be aimless fools without a calling. May we all be flesh and blood upon the rock. We can lift the blade and sculpt a higher purpose. You can keep the key and throw away the lock. My chapter on this earth is but a moment. When I share mine with yours, it makes it two. We can bring this fleeting image into focus on every moment here in love with you.
Woo! Yay! I wish we had a full audience to clap for that. That was great. Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I do want to know more about secular gospel.
Yeah.
And what did you call it? Did you say hopeful nihilism or?
Yeah, optimistic nihilism.
Optimistic nihilism.
Yeah. Yeah. So the first song that I learned to fingerpick was Since I Laid My Burden Down by Mississippi John Hurt. And, gospel music is really inextricably interwoven into the fabric of American music.
Yes.
And so I sort of accidentally wrote my first full-length record just over time. I think I first had the idea in about 2016 or so is when those songs started to come together.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no interest in writing sort of like a cynical sort of take on that. That's, plenty of, very good comedians in the 20th century have kind of done that already. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I have no idea if it's going to work or not. It's wildly inconsistent in its tone and genre. It's all over the place. But I think, luckily, regardless of how it's received, I have done it for the correct reasons. Right. And I've had the privilege to do that. Really, I've managed to thread the needle throughout my life of making art that's meaningful to me while also somehow providing for myself materially.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really have any interest in doing music to pay the bills, really. And there's nothing wrong with doing so, but I couldn't sustain myself doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I think the most beautiful thing about it is that all of my other sort of 6-track EPs that I've put out involved a crew of between 1 to 4 people. And this one involved around 15.
Oh, wow.
Asia is prominently featured in a lot of it.
Cool.
They sing as part of a quartet for a few of the songs and take the lead on one of them, actually. I only sing on like 7 of the 12 tracks, actually. I consider myself a writer more than anything. And so it's been great to have a project where I just can sort of, have different people sing if that's what the piece calls for. So.
Love that.
And it's been an amazing process too. I was really honored when Henry asked me to sing a song for the album. And it was really funny because when he was talking about being interested in getting a quartet and a choir together, obviously he knows people who are singers and musicians, but I was like, I got plenty of people who are used to singing for free. So, you know.
And we did pay them.
We did.
I've actually insisted that people get paid for this.
But yeah, my joke was like, I know lots of theater people who are used to that.
Yeah.
You know, it's again like what Henry was saying. Like, you know, it's nice to get compensated, obviously, for your art, but and like you were saying too, you know, but we're driven to do it outside of that, and we do it because we love it, and you know. So
there was this. I remember when I put my last record, what was that? Beyond the Gate? Yeah, Beyond the Gate. And Dan Carter at KZFR was interviewing me about that, and he asked me, "How was that putting that record together?" And I just said, "Hard." Like there's this incredible quote from Hayao Miyazaki of Studio Ghibli, who directed my favorite film, Princess Mononoke. And there's this documentary called The Kingdom of Dreams and Madness, released in 2013. And in that, he says, filmmaking only brings suffering. I can't believe I actually want to do another one. and so, and look, Miyazaki leads a famously extreme lifestyle that I personally would not want to emulate, but I think that quote speaks to a reality that any artist who's undertaken a particularly ambitious project has experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? Because art doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to involve suffering. But every now and again in an artist's life, you may be gripped by this vision of something that exists as yet only in your head, and then you are driven by some sort of primal need to try to bring it forth into the world. And
often at the expense of everything else.
Wow, yeah. Well, and I mean,
or the desire to have it be at the expense of everything else.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, the second part of that quote does also speak to there is a reason we keep doing it, even if it's not always entirely clear. I think sometimes it's hard to remember why you're doing it when you're in the middle of it. But I think what Asia was talking about earlier gets to the heart of it. I mean, the whole reason that I've taken my music outside of my own living room is to try to make emotional connections with other people.
Yeah.
And artistically, I think another aspect of it was that there were songs that I was like, this doesn't quite exist yet.
Uh-huh.
I guess I'll be the one to do it, kind of a thing. And so yeah, and don't get me wrong, this process has been wonderful. Like I said, the collaborative aspect of it has been especially moving for me to just feel very honored to receive the support that I've received from other artistic people in this community, and singers and instrumentalists and engineers and all sorts of things. It's been a wonderful process.
Well, and I think it's really cool too because you know the group of people we've assembled, it doesn't have to do anything with their religious beliefs too, which is kind of neat.
Right.
You know, the messages that Henry is writing about and singing about resonate with people who've been privy to the project so far. And you know, for me, the song that he asked me to sing, I don't know if you have the track title. I don't know if you're releasing names yet.
Oh no, I think I'm calling it Mother Iscariot.
Yeah, so Henry could speak more to, you know, where his inspiration was with that. But for me, singing the song is like every time I sing it, I cry.
Yeah.
Because the way that he's written it reminds me of my time spent as a journalist, and also my time spent now working with people experiencing homelessness and the mothers of these people who end up dying on the streets, and these mothers who loved them and did everything that they could and lost their children. And, you know, I think about that when I think about these, you know, middle-aged men, you know, they are sons, you know, and I interviewed a mother once who her son passed away on the streets, and she'd helped him multiple times getting into rehabs, and he just struggled, and he passed away of an overdose. And Henry's song really resonated with me, and the way that he wrote it, and so you were talking about that connecting piece, and I'm the first person to hear it other than you, and I was emotionally moved by it, and the ways that had touched the stories of other people who had shared vulnerable things with me in their life and things that they had been through.
Yeah, it was kind of I was imagining if Judas Iscariot's mother was still alive when he passed, what she would have thought about that. I feel like there still would have been grief. I mean, there's grief and there is meaning even in the lives of people who have made terrible mistakes.
Yeah.
Right. So,
yeah, and there's still love there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, hearing the whole discussion on what drives us to do these hard things. As a mother, all I can think of is childbearing and child rearing. Like, why am I doing this? Oh no, it's all worth it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I mean, I think there's the cruel irony of all of this is that as artists, we so often to the public sort of present all of this as if it were effortless. As musicians, the takes that we like the most are the ones where it sounds like it is just pouring easily from us like a free-flowing river.
Yeah.
And that's not, so it creates this environment in which it seems like we all should just be these easy masters of the craft, but that's not really what happens. Oftentimes behind closed doors. So
the months and months and months of rehearsals.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Either you playing your songs over and over, or me running scenes and lines over and over.
Right.
And the late nights and
the reality.
Yeah.
So, but again, it is all very much worth it. But I mean, I think I listen to like Dan Reeder records before I go to record, because he also has had a history of like doing all sorts of insane stuff to try to get things perfect. But I think especially later on, what I love about Dan Reeder's records, and Dan Reeder would probably want to punch me if I said this, but I love that when you listen to his records, you can hear every like lip smack and there'll be like stuff falling over in the background in his warehouse or whatever that just sort of makes it in, and I'm like, that it soothes me before I go in. I'd be perfectionism really is the death of art, let's do the dang thing. So,
and I think that's part of the reason that growing up I have always been, what was it, my parents took me into the doctor when I was a kid, and they were like, she worries a lot. Like, is she okay? And
just from the get-go, man.
Yeah, and like, the doctor was like, she's just like that. It's fine. So, from the time I was a kid, I just was like hyper aware of things and of, it's like that perfectionism drive as you get older and, get exposed to society and like, in school, I was like straight A student, like all through college too. And I think one of the things that's really fascinating about being that kind of person who worries about that and puts way too much on myself is I'm throwing myself into a live theater environment where mistakes will happen. Yes. It is not an if, it is a when. Yeah. They will happen and you have to keep going. And I think that one of the things that Henry and I both do in our art forms is we continue to seek ways to challenge ourselves with the different projects or shows or roles that we take on. And I think that is really wonderful because even though it is stressful and it's like we're testing our own inner perfectionism a lot of the time, it's like a chance to like grow and accept those mistakes and accept that things aren't going to be perfect. And oftentimes the things that aren't perfect are more memorable anyway.
It's very true.
The mistakes are where the magic happens. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have any upcoming projects that you're excited to share about? Is this album imminent?
I mean, that's good question. So
Oh, don't forget to say the name of it too.
Yes.
Sure, yeah. So the album's called Lost Gospel,
Okay.
and I don't hold your breath. No, actually, no. A couple weeks ago, I actually finished all of my parts for it.
Nice.
Which is kind of why I'm allowing myself to talk about it in public, because now it feels like, oh, this actually could
Be a thing.
Yeah. I've done the critical core work of it now, and so I just have a couple of collaborators to get their parts, and just a boatload of mixing and all, design and whatever. So there's a lot of that, but that's all fine. So, God, I'm not one to make predictions. I'm thinking early next year at this rate. So,
awesome.
but yeah, it's a special project to me. I'm really looking forward to it. As of right now, we are in talks with Theater on the Ridge. They really want me to do the release show there.
Awesome.
So, and a lot of the people who have done shows at Theater on the Ridge are also involved in this project in
Very
some
cool.
way. So, yeah, keep your eyes posted in 2026 for that particular project.
Cool.
And then Henry and I was very excited about this because I've always been joking with him that like someday I'm going to get him to do a show with me, a theater show.
Right.
And I mean, he's in school right now, so it's just not good timing for all the insane amount of hours and dedication you have to put into like a theater production. Having that on top of your music is just too much. But Theater on the Ridge is doing Radioland Return to Paradise this summer, and I was in the original cast when we did that show in 2019, early 2019, right after the campfire, and it was just a really special experience. I meant a lot to the community, and so I was reached out to join again, and I was like, wait, hey, this show is different than other theater shows because most of the rehearsal process you're working on your solos and it's not as demanding rehearsal wise. So I was like, Henry, what if we did this together? And so we're going to be doing that show together, which is very exciting with a lot of my beloved friends and who are involved either in the cast or crew. So we're really excited. And that is, if you go to totr.org, which is Theater on the Ridge, you can see their season schedule, and that it opens in July and runs through, I think, the first and second weekends. I don't have my phone, so I can't pull up the dates.
That's fine.
But you can find it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything is at your fingertips with the internet.
Yes.
Yeah, that show's hilarious because I'm playing a thinly veiled fictionalized version of myself, and will probably be on stage for like 5, maybe 8 minutes or something like that. And I was like, that's the kind of theater I can do.
Yeah. He's like, that's what I have time for right now.
It is one of those things where if there were 20 more hours in the week, then I could do it.
Yeah.
I
kind of a
totally
thing,
get it.
but it demands all of your time.
Yeah.
So
So that I'm really excited about that. And then I've auditioned for some stuff, so just waiting to see what happens there
Awesome.
for the later in the year. So
Cool. Where can people find you online?
henrycrookbird.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm on Instagram.
Yay.
And it's a public. Don't abuse that privilege.
Public for now.
I can't remember my handle. Oh, this is embarrassing. But I usually post about my theatrical stuff on my Facebook and on Instagram. And if you look up my name, there's not a lot of Asia Birds out there spelled how my name is spelled.
Mhm.
So you'll find me.
Yes. Here, I'm trying to pull it up right now.
I know there's
See.
an underscore in there or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, my name, Ashiah Bird, just like the animal.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I joked when Henry,
Asia_D. That's you.
and the D is for Diane.
Okay.
Fun fact. You'll be quizzed later.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much. This was an awesome conversation.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Of course. We'll see you around town. Bye. Yay! Yay!
The Chico Creates podcast is presented by and recorded at Maker Radio in Chico, California. Hosted and produced by Kira Barsotti. Production engineering and editing by Solomon Perillo. Theme song is Take Your Time by Lorna Such. We now have official merchandise: hats, totes, mugs, shirts for the whole family, and more at ChicoCreates.com. Sport your support of the show with official Chico Creates podcast merch. This show is made possible by community members like you. I would personally like to thank Melissa Thede, David LaShawn Montoya, Jonathan Greenfield, Heather Leveroni, Kaylee Huber, Troy German, Kate Thurkill, Bonnie Pipkin, Lindsay Hook, Bree Epley, Scott Grisette, and Johan Caro for their continued financial support of this project. If you'd like to join them, head over to ChicoCreates.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to become a show supporter. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you around town.